everybody, and welcome to the Marvel Sports Worldwide Podcast with a tired Wof today. Wof, you're tired. My name is Brendan.
You did a high-energy intro specifically to spite me.
Yes, I did despite you.
Anyways, yes, I'm Commander Wof. I'm very tired. It's been a long week.
Dude, he's more tired than Oceanics fans of not qualifying. Chat. Man, what was that one thing I saw? I saw this one meme. What was it? Oceanics, same sign from 2018 all the way to 2022. They had the exact same sign. Like the little Oceanics sign with the little sad face in the center right in the exact same place. So they kept that sign around. They're just reusing it every year because
I love it.
It's never going away, man. I don't know what happened to them. They were at least like a Balls of Chaos tier team for a long time. And then all of a sudden it just went downhill and they've never recovered. They've never even made slight kind of movements toward like a clear recovery. It's just kind of been bad for them. So I don't really know. But I'm not to waste time in the intro today. Unless Wof has some crazy groundbreaking story to release, I'm kind of just ready to jump right through this intro and just get to it because we want to talk fantasy. We want to give you the most information possible and the most time possible to consider. Again, we'll try to get this episode out before the picking is finalized by the 2nd, but either way, we want to get it out there because this might always be useful for next year or something too. I don't know. So, Wof, unless you got anything, I'm ready to get right into the news and keep this an extremely short intro.
The only thing I have is tomorrow is the premiere of the Assassination Class of a Bridge series, and I'm in that. I recorded my lines for like a year ago, and they're going to be releasing weekly, so I guess if you want to check that out, go do that. Oh, I should probably tell you what the channel name is. What is it? I forgot the name. It's All Things Abridged. That's the name of the channel. I'll probably put
All Things Abridged, and please, Wof, post that when it comes out.
I'll post a link.
I would love to hear your voice, but in a different, non-Marvel based setting. So very exciting. But all that being said, let's head to the news, and then we're just gonna jump right through the news. Come back, hit fantasy really hard, get you guys ready for this year, and we're picking on stream today, on show today for people who listen to the recording. So you're gonna hear exactly what we're thinking and what we're going with. See you after the news.
Hello, Marvel sports fans. I am Smooth Commander Wof, here to bring you the Marvel Sports Worldwide News. To start us off, we have the Marvel League Friendly Round. After competing in the same 4 events as the qualifiers, the Green Ducks came out on top, followed by Mellow Yellow in 2nd, the Gliding Glaciers in 3rd, and the Raspberry Racers in 4th. Perhaps this is an indicator of things to come, but we'll see if they were really giving it their all. In a surprise twist, there was also an additional friendly round, with the 4 new and returning teams for Showdown. After these same 4 events, Team Plasma came in 1st, followed by the Purple Rockets in 2nd, the Wolf Pack in 3rd, and the Blackjacks in 4th. And now for a spookier occasion, the 2022 Halloween Marble Race has concluded, and after several marbles' lives were lost to the spiders, Will-O-the-Wisps came in 1st, followed by Ectoplasm in 2nd, and Gremlin in 3rd. Moving away from JMR, the Adventure Marble League Marbula 1 first round seeding race has concluded. It'll be interesting to see just what marbles end up making it through in the very end. And finally, an update on the Marble Invites. Reconstruction after the damages has been completed, and 7 of the 8 events have been filmed. We are eagerly awaiting this competition, and we hope to see it air very soon. Well, that's all for the news. I am Smooth Commander Wof, and you, my dear listeners, are the best fans in the world. And now, let's kick it on back with the podcast.
All right, we have returned from the news. Super excited because Wof's super tired. So I got to come out really excited here. make up for his lack of energy today.
Indeed.
He's a busy man. He's a busy man working a busy life. We know that, and we appreciate that, and we love that. But we at MSW, we are not tolerant of fantasy teams below the top half. So we hope that he really put some thought into it, because we don't want to have to ask him to step down from his position as co-host and supposed Marble Sports connoisseur. It'd be a sad day.
That's how this is going to be? Okay.
For the Marble Sports world. So hope to wake this silly man up, and hopefully he won't accidentally click pinkies, okay? Don't click pinkies. Please, don't accidentally click pinkies.
Okay, I won't click pinkies.
Let's do it today. Let's do it. So to start, we're gonna go through pick by pick. We're gonna talk about who I think would be good for the pick. Then I'm going to choose. Waf's gonna choose. We'll go again one by one here. I have here up on the Chrome, as you can see, I have it all here. I have the actual picking section right here. So I will be entering my picks as we go. I'm just gonna call it Marble Guy for my team. That's just what I'm going with this year. Y'all know who it is. Waf, assuming he'll call himself Waf. Whatever.
Probably something like that. As soon as that, it might be the wolf pack again. I'm not sure.
Actually, that's good. So we got our 3 times, 2 times, 1 times. We're gonna ignore the showdown friendly and the Halloween race and whatever. That's next week or the week after. We're gonna focus fantasy. Times 3. Where are we thinking? Okay, and I'll start just to kind of kick things off for where I am thinking right now. I did some research. I looked into it. I thought about it, and I have 3 times 3 possibilities. Okay? And here they are, very surprising. Chocolatiers, Midnight Wisps, Raspberry Racers.
Brendan, what on earth are you smoking?
I did research. And that's what I have. I'm going to pick from one of those 3 teams for this year's times 3.
Midnight Wisps, Chocolatiers, and who was the other one?
Raspberry Racers.
2 of those make sense, Brendan. 2 of those make sense. Please explain the Chocolatiers to me.
Please dude, you got to think about it this way. And I have some notes here. Chocolatiers, and then the literal comment was, dude, W2F, they actually up and coming right now. They are crazy. They're strong in basic events. Okay, they're strong in basic events. They were 7th last year, and the better teams that finished above them last year, and the teams that generally tend to do well, are going on. They're on a downturn. Rangers, Cat's Eyes, teams like that, not doing as well as you'd expect. And the Chocolatiers are now making strides to be much better. So it's like I feel like they're moving up in the skill range, while a lot of teams who are usually in the top 7 are moving downward. I mean, I just go right off the bat here. You look at Chocolatiers, first place, of course, in their qualifying group. They had the 5-meter hurdles gold. They had a triathlon with 10. What does that mean? That means they're a fast team. So we can establish that immediately. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, so the Chocolatiers are a weird choice. So let's go look at their overall lifetime performances in Marble Sports related things. So obviously, they had a bunch of bad years, but they started pretty well. Well, they didn't start well at all. They actually got 13th in the first Marble League they've ever been in. But they did have a silver in 10-meter sprint with Chalk, who is the captain, and you'll see a trend here as we go forward. They got a silver there, and you go to the following year again. They had an okay year this year, a couple medals and a couple nothing events that are never going to show up again. But again, Chalk finishing in 4th place in 5-meter sprint. That's pretty good. It's pretty good to see that he has a consistent amount of speed. 4th place is still good, okay? All right, you go out, Chalk, 5-meter ice dash, finishing 5th, 2018. You start to see a trend here. And I would notice this. Chalk underwater race, another racing event. They medaled in silver. Let me see. I think also here, they did not race Chalk in 5-meter sprint in, what was the year of this? 2019. And they still did pretty well overall, but that's before Chalk was captain. Coco was captain then. But I still another speed trend. I mean, still 6th in 5-meter sprint isn't that bad. I mean, I started to notice that their speed events were pretty good, and I think it is pretty solid. And so, like, as I keep going on, I keep seeing that speed is strong for them. Okay? And so when you come all the way to like 2021, Chalk again in, 5-meter sprint, fourth again. And I was like, okay, that's 2 fourths and some medals and speed events for Chalk. Bon, mogul race, strong, final endurance, Mocha, gold medal. They also had a silver in the football, but no one really cares about that. But like, I just tend to see that they're strong speed team. And they will have events where they get 15th. They will have events where they're going to get like 11th. They're not an overall amazing savage speedery type team. But I just felt like there was a lot of show of speed there, a lot of show of capability. And so when you come back to the qualifiers and you see that 2 speed events, they perform extremely well. I mean, I tend to lean that, you know what, the Chocolatiers aren't the worst pick. They're on the upswing. Okay? Well, I feel like a lot of teams are on the downswing. And honestly, with the exception of the other 2 teams that I have possible here, you tell me who else is really a logically super strong pick for first place? Because I missed it.
Cat's Eyes?
No.
Really?
No Cat's Eyes for this year. With a terrible qualifying performance. Okay? I mean, there's not a momentum there. I mean, this is the Cat's Eyes. I think they're a team that's going to get you points. They could get golds in like triathlon, but I'm really worried about them for these kinds of events like balancing and climbing. And this is a Green Ducks Marble League. And we don't know the event list yet, but there's bound to be some weird events. You know, I feel like there's going to be some sort of rafting. There might be diving again because of the duck nonsense. I mean, you're going to have climbing again. You're going to have balancing again. And the Cat's Eyes, they're not great at those lately. And so that's a worry for me. And so I have to look for teams that are going to be strong in that regard. And so the Chocolatiers, again, their climbing and balancing weren't good, but at least they were very consistent with the speed. They had 2 medals, which is good. And they've been increasing over the past few years from where they were. And they have a track record of certain events being good, even if they don't medal. 4th place a lot for chalk and speed-based events, bon and speed-based events, racing, good for them. Also some random events like long jump in there and like football that they'll just excel at for some reason. So they have a versatility and they have a current momentum. So believe it or not, they're on the table. They're on the table for ×3. It's kind of hard to say them. It's hard, but they're on the table.
Okay.
Wof. Thoughts? Chocolatiers, would you pick them? For ×3.
Would I pick the Chocolatiers? No, I still would think that they're past it. Like, I'll concede that they're a good pick for on your team in general. But I don't know if it's a smart idea to put them as your ×3.
All right,
they haven't had the best history. They just haven't had the best history.
And that's the thing. And they become a very risky pick because they could just go right back to where they've been. And that could have been a fluke last year, and they could have had a weird qualifiers. And so you don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think it's possible. I'll talk about something a little bit more sensible. Raspberry Racers, Wof. Raspberry Racers. Would you pick them for ×3, sir? And you picked them last year? ×3?
Did I? I think I did.
Yeah.
I believe I did.
Why'd you pick them last year?
Why'd I pick them last year? Because they were really good in the year that they got first place, and they had been a pretty consistent team at that time. I can't remember how they did last year. What did they get last year? I forgot.
Year, I think they ended in like 3rd. They're auto qualified.
Oh yeah. Right. Of course, I'm stupid. Yes, like I mean that was a good pick for me. Should I go safe again?
Here's my argument for Raspberry Racers. Okay. It's a very simple argument. Raspberry Racers, if you look at the past 3 years, 80% of the time, 80% of the events, they were overall within the top 5. I mean, that's pretty strong. Yeah. It was the end of 2020 that they dropped below top 5 for the back third of the Marble League. Everything else, top 5. They were in the top 5 all of 2019 and won it. They were in the top 5 all of 2021 and got third. They were in the top 5 for 2/3 of 2020 and I think they ended kind of a little bit lower, but it was the drop off in the back few events, which were kind of weird in the Galactic Marble League. So that's a tough one. But I mean, that's a really strong consistency.
Yeah, that is like with that in mind. You know what? I think I'll pick him again for my ×3. I think
that's where I lean right now too, because the data right now is too strong, and the hardest part is we didn't get to see him in the qualifiers this year, so we didn't really get to handle that, and they did not do that great in the friendly round. But then again, we can't always use a friendly round as the bellwether. And they're reversing the 4 other best teams. So I don't know. But it's very, very hard.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. It's hard. I think just because of their past consistency, because I think I will pick it for my ×3. Like they did well for me last year. So it makes sense that there's a reason to doubt them this year.
Yeah, I would say Raspberry Racers right now I feel like that's the leading pick unless you can make a good argument for the Midnight Wisps. And my argument for the Midnight Wisps is that they have momentum again. They're strong in the basics. They're a former win. They're a solid team. They're a solid team with the most points in all the qualifiers. They have a momentum. They showed they know how to balance. They show they know how to race. All right, climbing in 5-meter hurdles, a little bit to be desired. But again, we've seen them excel in 5-meter hurdles and racing events like that too. So it's not out of the question.
Yeah,
it's a hard...
A point against... Sorry. You keep going, sorry.
It's a hard decision to really pick between Midnight Wisps and Raspberry Racers, because I feel like where I'm sitting right now... opinions in the chat if you're here, because I'm probably going to go with one of those two. I feel like Chocolatiers is going to be on my team, but later on. I just don't know.
To try and help with the Chocolatiers thing is Chocolatiers was in Group A, which was far easier compared to Group B. So it's important to remember that the reason why they did so well may not be because they're so good, but because their competition isn't as good.
But how do I decide between Midnight Wisps and Racers? I mean, that's a very hard choice to make.
That is a hard choice. I want to say that the Midnight Wisps aren't as good as they used to be, but a lot of my memory is based on Marbula 1, which isn't a fair comparison for Marble League.
That's true. I mean, honestly, data-wise, I really think the Raspberry Racers can win this year. I really do. I know they've won before, and you're always touchy. That's why I'm touchy on Mellow Yellow, because they just won. And no one's repeated champion twice in a row yet. We've had repeats, but no back-to-backs.
Yeah, Mellow Yellow, they do their alternating thing. They did good last year, so they're probably going to do terrible this year.
Yeah, I mean, they may still have a decent season, and they might still find a way onto my team, but, I can't be sure about them, and so it's very hard. I feel like for now, maybe Yak, but I'm definitely not picking the Pinkies. I'm gonna for now. Oh, I timed out. The entry times out. For now, I'll just type it here. For now. For now, I will start with Raspberry Racers.
Okay. I'm gonna go Raspberry Racers as well. Honestly,
I think it's a strong pick. I think it's hard to argue with the fact that they've been incredibly consistent. So even if they don't get first, they're gonna put up a lot of points. And I mean, they might even be a good ×2. But I feel like for the ×2, I really do lean back to Speeder.
We shall see.
So Raspberry Racers current top one. I really, part of me still wants to pick the Chocolatiers, but I mean, come on, the Chocolatiers, are they really gonna win this year? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Here's how I feel. If the Chocolatiers win this year, oh no, not win this year. If they do well this year, if they top 7 this year, then they'll be very in high consideration for next year for me. Because that will show a little bit of consistency. We'll get to see, we'll have a little more data on what they're good at and not. and then I'll really think about it. But I just think I need to see a little more from them. I think the Midnight Wisps I'm always dubious about. And so I'm going to go Raspberry Racers for now. And move us on to the times 2.
All right. Well, like, I think I'll start us off with the discussion on it. Like, thinking, like, how I mentioned, Chocolatiers doing well because they're in the easier group. The fact that the Midnight Wisps won in the harder group of the two, I think that does actually speak volumes about how they're doing right now. So you know what? Midnight Wisps is times 2. That's a solid pick, I think.
Yeah, and you can't argue with the fact that they have a former win, and they're generally usually a decent team. I know they had to go back didn't they go to Showdown last year or something? So they were, but
Yeah, the Wisps got 9th in Showdown.
So I mean, there's that, but then again, they did kill it in the qualifiers, and you can look at. I mean, yeah, you need not even look that far back at past stats to understand that this is a pretty solid team. You know what I mean? I mean, I'll kind of just scroll through here real quick, but I mean, this is a team who puts up medals. I mean, 2017. They didn't win 2017. No, they won 2018. Right. Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of medals there. And again, a lot of the medals, I mean, racing base, rally, race, bobsled. I mean, those are racing based. So, I mean, they have that base, which is very important. I mean, they still put up a lot of medals in 2019, even though they finished 10th. They put up 2 golds and a silver. And they're, again, racing, hurdles, block pushing. That's a staple. In rafting, which might be back, by the way, this year because it's a Green Ducks hosted event.
Yeah,
so I mean that's something to consider.
Be a fun thing to see again.
And the Green Ducks excelled and loved the rafting event. And that's well known. I mean, again, they didn't do bad. I mean, they finished 4th in 2020. I mean, this is a strong team with a bunch of medals, by the way. I mean, golds all across the board for them often. 2021 Showdown medals. I mean, there's a lot of medals with this team. And I think consistency-wise, they could be a very strong time, too. Because similar to the Savage Speeders, if you look at their current docket of performance, I mean, they're going to put up a couple golds. Midnight Wisps are very likely to put up 1 or 2 golds this year. Maybe even 3. I mean, Savage Speeders are close to go crazy. 4 golds in that one season. Bunch of medals. 2018, bunch of medals. 2019, 2 golds and a bronze. I mean, it doesn't end with this team. I mean, 2020 just absolutely destroyed. I mean, 3 golds, 3 bronzes, and a silver. I mean, really, when it comes to consistency, this is your team. Even on the 12th place year, they were top 5 for half the season here in the middle, and they had 2 golds. Otherwise, I mean, they struggled. But again, my data point on the Savage Speeders as a times 2 is that the events they struggled on here. Okay, even they were one-off events. Okay, a lot of the struggle events were one-offs. Okay, I mean, for example, 10th and Swing Wave. I mean, Swing Wave's not going to be back, or if it is, it's not back often. Okay, diving, it doesn't show up often. Football doesn't show up often. I mean, yeah, they struggled on a couple events they shouldn't have, like marble cross and 5-meter sprint. But, I mean, everyone has a tough year. Steeplechase is not going to be often. I mean, you take those events out, you're looking a little bit different, especially compared to where they finished. I mean, and so, I mean, there's a bunch of one-off events that were just a struggle for them. And so, I mean, every team, even the best of them, going to have a few 10th places over the course. But, I mean, again, I look at this and I'm like, Swing Wave is their 10th place, and football and diving. I mean, you gotta take that into account when we go into this next season where you're probably not going to see those events. So I tend to really lean Savage Speeders. I think Midnight Wisp is a strong pick. I think Team Galactic is also a strong pick. I want to pick Galactic, but I also shy away from Galactic because I feel like Galactic. To enter the fantasy, by the way, you go to, because someone asking, you go to the JMR Discord and you go to the fantasy spoilers and you type in some command. They have the announcement there.
Yeah. I will say that Tricky pointed out something that's really kind of funny. Apparently, you on one of the WML episodes, you said, I honestly would like to see Chocolatiers retire. I hate them so much.
Wait, when? What's WML?
I'm trying to remember that too. I don't remember what WML is. World Marble League, Winter Marble League. But which Winter Marble League? Probably the second one.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Apparently,
I
that's
don't
what you
hate on the
said.
Chocolatiers. I think I just was bitter because I feel like they just kind of coast. But they've been up and coming this year. We have to recognize them. We can't pretend like they're not there anymore. I mean, they're first place in the group, and they finished 7th last year. They're on the rise. They need to be considered. Okay? I mean, they may not be my favorite team, but I'm picking a fantasy team to win here. Don't let them slip out of your mind. I think that not picking them might be a mistake down the line for me. But it's hard to pick them for a ×3. I'm going Savage Speeders ×2. Again, I think Galactic is also a good pick. So if you're just trying to get some pick ideas, Galactic, Midnight with Savage Speeders. Those are strong ×2 picks. Consistent teams. Galactic, my problem with them is that even in their wonderful, memeable 5th consistency, that's usually where they top out at. Their medal count is not as high as Midnight Wisps or Savage Speeders. Okay? And their general performance, again, like 5th, if 5th is your peak as opposed to your middle, I mean, that can get a little scary for like trying to make a consistent pick. So I would not lean Galactic as much, but I still think it's a solid pick. Again, I could also see Savage Speeders and Midnight Wisp being better picks. I will say, I think you should shy away from the O-Rangers and shy away from the Cat's Eyes from your ×2 this year. I think that their performance in the qualifiers is very lackluster. I'm a little worried about them. Rangers did not have a great year last year. Okay, so I really think it's not their year this year. Cat's Eyes did a little bit better last year, but again, I feel like there's an inconsistency that's set in with these two teams, and their strengths kind of range towards, first of all, the individual marbles on the team, away from teamwork-based events, and also towards more Marbula 1. And so data-wise, there are just better teams. Again, they're good teams, so I'm not going to be surprised if I see them in the top 5. But as far as the ×2, I'm just not about them. I'm not about them this year for a ×2. They're not as consistent currently as I think that some of these other teams are. I mean, definitely Savage Speeders. When you have the chance to put Savage Speeders on your team, you do it. You do it. All right? So I really, unless someone can make some crazy argument for me, Savage Speeders goes in your ×2, at least in your ×1. You got to be smart, or Midnight Wisps.
So, like, because of how close it was last year, if that trend continues, the Savage Speeders are not going to do terrible, but relative to everyone else, it's going to be very close. So I feel like I'm still going to stick with Midnight Wisps because their quality performance was good, especially like against such top tier teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they will do. I think they might do better than Savage Speeders this year, but not by a massive margin by any stretch. I think it'll be a very close competition again this year.
Probably. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see who emerges this year. I think the problem is you have other weird teams on the outskirts that aren't necessarily count-outable. Like Gliding Glaciers is still possible. I mean, Mellow Yellow might do well this year as well. I mean, Green Ducks, while data says they won't do too well, I mean, it is the Green Ducks, and they did get 2nd place in their rookie year, and they still have a skill set. So I don't know. It's very hard. I do lean to Raspberry Racers and Speeders here. They are teams that are strong right now. Okay? Savage Speeders are always ever consistent until proven wrong. Raspberry Racers have put up the best data in the past couple of years. I mean, truthfully, it is incredible how often they're in the overall top 5. So we got to stick with what we know. Moving on, the picks get a little bit more hazy. Hazers. Consistency pick. Another consistency pick for your first ×1. That's where Galactic could come in. I threw a Rangers there, but I wouldn't recommend them. I'm leaning Mellow Yellow. For this reason, it's a consistency pick and it's a momentum pick. Because we have, they didn't do bad in the friendly. They had a gold and they kind of had one of each. But I don't know. I feel like they're still a strong team. They're a veteran team. They know what's up. They won last year. I mean, I feel like as a ×1, they're smart. They're like a pseudo Speeders in the sense of they're going to be a consistent team this year. I mean, that's where I lean right now. Again, I think Cat's Eyes is a fine pick. I think Galactic's a fine pick. I even think something like Chocolatiers is not a terrible pick for your first ×1. But I tend to really lean towards Mellow Yellow here. Okay? Because of their recent performance. And I feel like it's not a generally... I mean, this seems very simplistic. but it's not a generally bad strategy to put the last year's winner on your team for the following year. I
But
really
it's
think
Mellow
it's
Yellow, the inconsistent bunch, or at least consistently off and on bunch.
well, again, I don't know how much data really supports that. They got second and third in their first two Marble Leagues, and then 2018, 15th, 2019, 4th, 2020, 14th. So there's a little bit of that pattern there. 2021, first. So there's two sets of that pattern, with the first two Marble Leagues being really good. I don't know necessarily why that pattern has emerged a little bit. But again, like, wow, they got 16th in balancing in 2020. That's concerning. But see, they did well in balancing in the friendly. No, did they do bad in balancing in the friendly? I think they did bad.
I can't remember.
I think they actually did
was
bad.
just watching it right before this show. Like, again, I've been I'm so busy.
Yeah.
I literally have not been. I've just been watching the friendlies just as they started.
Their balancing is weak. Their balancing is incredibly weak.
And we got
Shit.
Yellow now on the team.
But, like, I feel like balancing... Listen, this is... I don't know. And this is something to consider, because you always have to take a little bit of probability and luck into account. I feel like it's more likely that a team accidentally does good at balancing than does good at triathlon. I just do. Sometimes, accidentally, all the marbles will stay on the beam. But, like, usually if you're bad at racing and triathlon, you're going to be bad at racing and triathlon. But the Yellow was good. And they're pretty
Yellow
good
did it too.
They were good
so
at
that
climbing
was
too.
impressive.
They had a strong 71.9 in climbing. That's not bad if you can get into the 70s in that event. So, I mean, I don't know. And the climbing's going to be there. And it's going to be more green ducky type events. So, I mean, I don't know. I lean them. They're coming off momentum from the previous year. They're good in the sand. Sand mogul race first place. They're good in the water, diving second place. They're good at learning quickly with newer events. Wave third place. I mean, they have a skill set ready for a Green Ducks Marble League, which is probably going to have rafting. It's probably going to have a couple water events. It's probably going to have a couple oddball events, like new events thrown in there that we'll be surprised about. And then it's definitely going to feature a lot of speed-based events because the Green Ducks are a speed-based team. So I really lean Mellow Yellow here. It's not an easy pick.
For me, like, I have to go Savage Speeders just because, like, I haven't picked them yet, and it's stupid to not have the Savage Speeders.
Listen, you want me to do the rant again? Okay, I mean, you know what I always say. It's a consistent return every year. If Savage Speeders, at the current point of data, all right, if you're listening to this in 20 years and the Indigo Stars are the new top team, whatever. But for now, in the current situation, if Savage Speeders is not on your fantasy team, then you're not picking a good team. You're just not. Until proven wrong, you should pick the Savage Speeders every single year, somewhere on the team. Not saying times 3, not saying times 2 have to be. I'm saying you got to pick them. So yeah, I would agree, pick them. I think Mellow Yellow is a strong pick. I think it's really smart to pick the winner from the previous year. I'm going to go with Mellow Yellow right now. I think it's smart. I think it's smart. And I just feel like O'Rangers is not it this year, and I shy away from Galactic. I need to see just a little bit more from them.
Fair,
right.
like they're still a bit. Like, they literally got 5th in like in their own qualifying group too. Like, they gotta stop. They just gotta stop. They have to stop.
I know, it's funny. I wish 5th was their median or their mean and not their peak, you know? And then they'd probably be pickable.
Yeah, that's true. For 4th pick, let's see here. Dark Horse. I think Team Primary. This is their first time back.
I knew you were going to say
since
something like Team Primary. I knew it.
Since 2017. They haven't been here since 2017. And they finally have made it.
Okay. Now.
Also, like, admittedly, part of it is, like, a friend of mine has a very strong connection with Team Primary, and I heard their story about, like, how, like, they bonded with their dad over it, and, like, so I'm kind of biased to want to pick them now. I want to see them do well.
This is how, okay, let's talk about dark horses here. There are 5 dark horses, truthfully. There's the Chocolatiers, there's the Gliding Glaciers, who are still a dark horse because they're new. There's Team Primary, there's the Shining Swarm, and the Pinkies. That's a lot of dark horses. They're all dark horses. Gliding Glaciers is auto-qualified because they did so well last year. Chocolatiers, Primary, Swarm, and Pinkies are all very well-performing teams. Even the Bumblebees are a dark horse here. 6 dark horses mathematically.
Pinkies, Pesky said Pinkies are a dead horse.
Yeah, well, Pinkies kind of are a dead horse. But here's the thing. How do you weed through that? How do you decide which of those dark horses are likely and which are not? Because that's a really tough question.
That's a fair point.
like when I go into Team Primary, you might say to me, okay, you have all these dark horses, Marble Guy, Brendan, whatever you call me. And you're like, great. Well, you're listing all these teams for me. How can I know which one of these dark horses is really a smart pick and which one is not? Chocolatiers is a smart pick, but I've already talked about why. They're up and coming. They were bad for a while, but then, all of a sudden, the 7th place last year. And then all of a sudden, like, you look back at their stats, they're consistent in a lot of speed-based events. They're consistent in a lot of oddball events. So you see a little bit of consistency, even in their lesser performances. You know they can be fast. They're up and coming last year, right? And this year, they come out very strong in the qualifiers and put up 2 golds in 2 very basic events. Very basic, memorable events that are going to recur over and over and over again in Marble League, and in as many ways. 5-meter hurdles usually translates a little bit to 5-meter sprint, usually translates a little bit to relay. So if you can do good on one of them, you're going to do at least okay in the others. Rarely are you going to see a first place in 5-meter hurdles and then a last place in sprint. It's just not very likely. So you look at that. You understand that data. You see the rise of the team. You see the decrease of teams that usually finish above that team. Think about when the Chocolatiers were bad. All the teams that were finishing above the Chocolatiers when they were bad, all those other teams, half of them aren't even in the Marble League this year.
Yeah.
Which is true. There are a lot of them that aren't there. Because they didn't even qualify. I mean, I figured that was implied, but you understand what I mean. They're not there. They're just not. So they can't even be above the Chocolatiers because they're not even there. And some of the ones that are showing very lackluster performances. I mean, like, the Cat's Eyes almost did not qualify until they accidentally got pushed across the line first in the triathlon, which was made stupidly because they put 3 inches of water at the end of the shit. Call that a section. I'm not putting a lot of stock in a team like the O'Rangers this year or the Cat's Eyes, who usually would finish above the Chocolatiers. I don't even have to put any stock in half the teams that didn't even qualify that would usually finish above the Chocolatiers. The Chocolatiers, again, 7th last year. I mean, that's a strong dark horse. Data tells you that they will do something good this year. Especially with the Captain Chalk, who is consistently fast. And Bon Bon, not bad either. Bon Bon's like the blue eye, good in the sand and all that nonsense.
Pesky pointed out, Midnight Wisp in 2019, 1st in hurdles, 15th in sprint.
Okay, fair enough, but the Midnight Wisps are stupid, okay? They're always doing shit like that. I'm saying it's unlikely, not that it's impossible. But there are always data to prove that wrong. But when you look at Team Primary, and I just look at these overall finishes. I mean, 12th overall, 14th overall, then we're down in showdown and whatnot. Didn't even get into 2018, didn't even get into 2019. They don't have a consistent set of skills. They put up a random medal here and there. They couldn't even get a showdown until 2020 when they qualified. Then they go into 2021. They got into showdown and they got 1 gold. I mean, like, I have to see more than that. They're not up and coming, in my opinion. They just are still squeaking by. And again, like, I mean, they got 1st in climbing. Yay. And I guess they did well in the hurdles. But I don't know. Like, there's not enough for them. They're relatively bad across the board. If you look back on the Chocolatiers, you see a consistency, you see some medals, you see quite a few medals, 2, 3 per season, even on the bad seasons. I mean, you just don't see that with Team Primary. So, and they spent 3 seasons outside of the range of even a Marble League.
You're not wrong, but like, and I've not been doing it, clearly, as you can probably tell, I did not do a lot of research this year. But like, I'm going with my gut feeling on this one. Team Primary, the fact that they finally pushed through.
Maybe.
Granted, it was
and
the
gut feeling
it was the
is
easier group, but still.
gut feeling can exist. Shining Swarm is the same idea. I won't click through them right now. But it's the same idea. You look back, they spent a lot of years outside. They're not putting up a consistent medal set. I think Pinkies for me is just so inconsistent. I just can't in good heart pick them. I think that they're a better dark horse than Primary of Shining Swarm because they have a lot more, I don't know, I feel like they have a lot more passion to their history, but that's about it. Bumblebees.
Bumblebees.
Let's talk about the Bumblebees. And
Consistent. They were consistent this qualifier.
They were good this qualifier. And they used to be really good in the Hubelino. Look at all those golds in the Hubelino. They got through Showdown. And for them, though, you see something interesting. Once they got through Showdown, no, they didn't. They did not get into 20. They didn't get into 2021? How do I not remember? Oh, the Hornets were 2021. Were the Hornets in 20? Yeah, they were in 2021 Marble League, right? Hornets? Believe they were in there and not the Bumblebees, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't know. The Bumblebees for me.
They retired. Yeah, that's right, Pesky. They retired, yeah.
And then no, the Hornets are gone. They're not very good. They were really
they merged with them and they were in this competition with them in the qualifiers.
And that's the other thing to take into account. And that's why the Bumblebees are a better dark horse pick. I feel like the merger and the lack of data speak a little bit to the Bumblebees being possibly a fun dark horse pick. Only because
they're fun, definitely.
They're a little bit less data to back up them being bad. You know, basically, unlike like Primary or Shining Swarm, where there's oodles of data to remind us how not good they are. While there's no necessarily up and coming data, there's that merger, which is interesting because that shakes up teams. You might be picking the best two from each team most likely, and so like I don't know, it's a fun dark horse pick because there's so much shaken up. It's kind of like when we picked the Gliding Glaciers last year. It's like there's so much unknown about them. They're almost better than picking a team you know is not so good. So if I were to put two dark horse picks as the top, I'd really say Bumblebees and Chocolatiers are smart. Gliding Glaciers also very smart because they were strong last year. I almost feel bad not picking them, but my gut is telling me Chocolatiers because of they've had the momentum from the qualifiers. But the Gliding Glaciers are a very strong pick, and I wouldn't count them out either. You can look at data from last year, but they were good last year. I mean, you know that. And before they were non-existent, so there's not really to look at. They're a strong team. They look like they're going to be around and be decent. I don't know how they'll do this year, but who knows, right? So I think I'm going to go with Chocolatiers. That's how I feel for my dark horse. Wof?
Okay, let me think. Let me really think about this more. Because I keep forgetting about the auto-qualified teams. I really do.
Yeah, you got to remember those because they're usually the best of teams.
Man, Team Primary. For Dark Horse, I will go. I think I might go Balls of Chaos.
Really? What? After all I just went through, why Balls of Chaos?
Their recovery. M1 was insane. I feel like that momentum is gonna carry them.
But what does that have to do with the Marble League data?
I know, I know M1 and Marble League do not cross over a lot, but like the fact that they could recover their reputation and like they had the dedication to recover their reputation to such a massive degree, that's motivation. That's work ethic. That is determination, and that is a big aspect of what makes a team good and what gets them through the harder times. I think that will help to carry them through to have at least a very good performance this year.
Okay. Well,
like they went from being one of the most hated that year, that's in the beginning of this year with how terrible they did, to one of the most beloved in just one competition. That's pretty crazy.
Well, if you feel them, I didn't even really consider them for any pick, but man, if you're thinking it, can't say no.
Yeah, We'll see how it is. Again, I am tired. Wolf might not be thinking very clearly, but it's. But
Next week you're gonna be like, shit. You let me pick the balls of chaos, and I was like, yeah,
what were you thinking? Why did you let me do that? But
Dude,
we'll see.
I just think there's so many more sensible picks. But again, fantasy's hard, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, which leaves one pick left. And
one pick left. And
I love how I started this off saying that, but cat size are a good 3 times pick, and I'm not even gonna pick them.
No,
for anything.
yeah. Well, for my one pick left, since I go with a fave team, I would go with the cat size.
Okay.
And I'll go with CCE. Limers are not in, and I already picked Mellow Yellow, and those are my other 2 favorites. Here's the deal. I think you should pick a favorite team. I think that Marble Sports is too probabilistic to necessarily always... Because, okay, here's a weird thought. There's 2 reasons I think you should consider picking a favorite team. Number 1 is because it's good to have a little heart in your team. Okay? It's good. But there's another reason. It's an interesting one. And because, you know what it does? When you pick a favorite team, it forces you to neglect data when you pick. And while I think data is important, and I think that if you just went random and didn't look at a little bit of data and said, okay, wow, the Raspberry Racers look pretty good right now, blah, 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 it can be devastating. But I think that if you only data analyze for all 5 of your picks, you're going to come up empty too because of the probabilistic nonsense that comes in Marble Sports. Right. Sometimes you're just blown away. Sometimes you just, like Gliding Glaciers getting 3rd last year, no one knew that was going to happen. Right?
Right.
And so when you pick a favorite team, your mind has to be like, okay, I'm not thinking about which team had the most previous points or consistency or momentum currently, but I'm just thinking about what of the top 3 teams are my favorite, what generally am I thinking is good. It limits you to teams you like. So when I think, if data-wise, Crazy Cat Size, I'm kind of nervous about, but for a favorite team, I'm throwing them there, and you know what? They might just come out strong. If the Limers were there, data-wise, I'd never pick the Limers. But favorite team-wise, I might be like, you know what? I'll actually pick the Limers. And then I might be surprised. And they almost qualify. But if they did, I might have actually picked them. So you see, the point is, for one pick, it takes your mind off the data analysis side, picks a team you wouldn't have picked data-wise, likely, unless your favorite team is also backed up data-wise and then wonderful. And then it kind of diversifies your picks and allows for the probabilistic uncertainty of Marble Sports. I think it's going to be helpful than just trying to data analyze another team. Team Galactic would be a strong pick, says a live chat member. I do too. I think Team Galactic could be good. It's a weird pick though. So I would tend to lean towards Crazy Cat Size as a favorite team pick, and then leave it there, and that would be my team. What do you think, Wof?
No, I definitely feel that you gotta have heart, otherwise what's the point? But so that which makes me conflicted. So on one hand, again, I have that bias. I would kind of want to root for Team Primary, but I'm also Gliding Glaciers. I remember when I saw the auto qualify position recently. It's man, what a cursed image. Could you? No one ever imagined seeing the Gliding Glaciers up there.
Glaciers. I love the freaking Glaciers. I should pick them again. I'm so mad I'm not picking them again. I really should. I really should pick them instead of Chocolatiers, but I'm feeling them so much. I'm so mad that I'm not picking the Glaciers. I want to pick the Glaciers.
Maybe I'll pick the Glaciers for you.
And you know what? The Glaciers are in my top 4 favorite teams. So I could,
really?
Yes, my top 3. You know my top 3: Limers, Mellow Yellow, Cat's Eyes. They're my ride or die there. I have Limers merch. I have Mellow Yellow merch. I have Cat's Eyes merch. Shit, okay. And then after that, Gliding Glaciers is 4. I love the Gliding Glaciers. I love everything about him. I love their vibe. I love their essence. And I think after that, then it's just the I think I fall to Speeders and Rangers. And I think and that's rounds out my top 6, I guess. But I think Rangers. No, I think Speeders above Rangers at this point. I like the Rangers, but I really like the Speeders. I have a respect for that team, and so I think they're in my top 5 favorite. But I mean, yeah, so I Gliding Glaciers could fit well in that favorite team pick. I'm really mad I'm not picking them, and I think I'm going to regret it. I know I'm going to regret it. But it's so hard to pick that team.
I'm so close. I don't know if Glaciers are primary. I feel
Glaciers def.
Glaciers feel stronger to me. I feel like I'll go glaciers. That's my final pick.
Okay, so my team looks like Raspberry Racers, Savage Speeders, Mellow Yellow, Chocolatiers, and CCE.
Mine is Raspberry Racers. I forgot the second one. Raspberry Racers, Midnight Wisps.
Yeah.
Then it was my brain. Savage Speeders. Then it was was it Chocolatiers?
I want to pick the Glaciers so bad. I want to pick the Glaciers instead of CCE. I want to. Someone help me. Someone convince me. Someone listening convince me. Someone listening convince me. Please, to take the Glaciers instead of the CCE. I love the CCE, but the
Balls
Glaciers.
Of Chaos, I said, right. Balls of Chaos was my fourth,
to.
and then last one was Gliding Glaciers.
Take Balls of Chaos? Very much not. This guy says he went. I'll read. We're gonna read. Actually, a few people posted their picks, so we're gonna read through them shortly. So if you posted your picks, stick around in the chat because I'm gonna talk about them momentarily. Damn it! I want to pick the Glaciers. Damn it! I want to pick the Glaciers. I'm so mad because I want to, but then also CCE. I'm like CCE could be good, you know. And I love CCE. And you know what? I damn know if I pick the Glaciers, CCE is gonna do good. But I know if I pick the CCE, Glaciers are going to do good. I don't think it's CCE's year. I don't think it's CCE. I'm going to be so mad because Blue Eye's going to come out and win like 15 events if I don't pick CCE.
There's probably going to be a lot of environmental racing, like water because of the ducks.
Motherfucker, you're right.
I didn't think about that. But that implies that they will be smart to use Blue Eye every time.
Yeah, but they can't use Blue Eye every time. Someone help me.
Rafting, like it's not going to involve, like, for instance, Blue Eye actually being touching the water, so that probably won't translate at all for him.
Maybe not. Well, I can't pick both Crazy Cat's Eyes and Glaciers because I definitely can't remove Racers, Speeders, or Mellow Yellow from the pick set. I mean, I guess I could put Glaciers instead of Mellow Yellow, but why would I do that? Why would I put Glaciers instead of Mellow Yellow? You know what? Let's really look. One more time, look. Let's look at Mellow Yellow's performance last year. Let's look at the Glaciers last year. Just look at last year. All I'm looking at is last year and the events they did well in. Let's just look together. Let's just look together one quick time.
Oh, there's a rule? I didn't know this. Apparently, each member must go at least twice, and the reserve must go at least once. I wasn't aware that was a rule.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay. Last year, Mellow Yellow did good in Marblow Cross, diving, mogul race, steeplechase, jousting, and wave. Let's compare that to Glaciers. We'll get to that in a second, by the way, the whole individuals. I have to see. I'm sorry, I have to see. I have to vet out the Glaciers here. I want to pick them. Damn it, I want to pick them. But I need to convince myself that it's at least a logical pick. What did the Glaciers do last year? Wof, I hope I pick the Glaciers, man. I really hope I do, and I know I'm going to regret it if I don't.
This is just entertaining to watch for me.
I know I'm going to regret it. Glaciers did get a 5-meter sprint, block pushing, sand rally, and football. Where were their fourth places? Diving. Fifths, wave and balancing. What about Mellow Yellow? Balancing 11th. Hurdles 10th, relay 16th, 5-meter sprint 6th, funnel endurance 16th. Come on, man, it's too close. What is a Marble Cross? 6 from Marblow Cross. 6th. Sand rally 2nd, diving 4th, mogul race 6th, block pushing 3rd, 5-meter hurdles 16th. Shit. But they did good in the friendlies, though. They beat out some good competitors. 5-meter relay 15th. Damn. But 5-meter sprint 3rd, balancing 5th. Balancing is a tough one, and that's always there. But funnel endurance, not very good. But better than Mellow Yellow at 16th. And then Mellow Yellow also has that stigma of they won the previous year, so it's not likely that they'll win again. Help. Someone help in the chat. Someone help in the chat. Mellow Yellow or Gliding Glaciers. Someone in the chat. There's 10 of you listening. Type something. Please type something.
Go
Gliding Glaciers, Mellow Yellow. They're close. They're, by the way, extremely even data-wise if you look at the core events.
Follow your dreams.
I feel like
You
Gliding
can live,
Glaciers has a
Brendan.
better chance of being speedy when it comes to speed-based events and in the racing aspect.
It's also,
this is
again,
very hard.
this
And I
is
like
about
how
the
they're better
trend.
at balancing. That makes me happy because balancing is a good jumping off point. They're 5th in balancing last year. That's pretty good. I like how they're good at diving, so water. I like how they did well in sand rally and the block pushing. That means climbing will look pretty good for them. I don't like how the relays and the hurdles didn't go well, which means as a team they're scary. But I like how Marble Cross went pretty well. But I guess it did for Mellow Yellow too. But I don't like how Mellow Yellow did not do well in the relay, did not do well in the funnel endurance, and do not do well in the balancing. Someone help. Someone. Glaciers, Mellow Yellow. Because I think CCE should stay. But
Yak
then again-
says Mellow Yellow because you yourself mentioned they are Pseudo Speeder's default pick for times 1 because of high points, but they can be inconsistent.
Sap Pizza
Those are
says
your
Mellow
own
Yellow
words.
over the Glaciers too.
It sounds
Damn
like
it,
people are
Sap
saying
Pizza.
Mellow Yellow.
You're probably right. Pizza from Sap. That's what I'm listening to, man. Pick Razzies. I already did that. They're my times 3. Thanks, Pesky. Damn it, Wof. Damn it, Wof. I'm mad at you, Wof.
I'm sorry.
Not picking
I'll-
balls. Stop telling me to pick balls of chaos. If you want me to pick balls of chaos, I'll just pick the freaking blue Fastics. Not picking balls of chaos ever. Glaciers still more unknown. I know, but the Glaciers. I love the Glaciers. Okay, we'll get to that saddlebag. I'm going to read through everyone's shortly. This will be a longer episode, by the way, if you haven't gathered. Damn it. And this guy's Teckle says Glaciers, and he's been pretty base today. I think Sap. I'm about pizza with Sap, man. I think pizza with Sap knows what he's talking about. So I think but see, Glaciers instead of CCE. Fine. You know what? I'm gonna neglect Glaciers. I'm gonna be upset. We're gonna yell about this for the duration of the season as the Glaciers continue to win events, and I get mad. It's like shit. I'm actually broiling here because I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. I know I'm not in the right Discord thing. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. So I'm gonna do all my fantasy spoilers. We're gonna neglect the Glaciers. Should we neglect the Glaciers though? Can we really do that? Come on, Wof.
I'm not neglecting them. I'm picking them.
Wait, you're picking the Glaciers? Why
Did I
am I
not say
picking the
that?
Glaciers? All right, Raspberry Racers for my times 3. Times 2, definitely Speeders. We know that. And then the times 1s. Mellow Yellow, it's got to be there, man. Oh, I'm so sad. And then, of course, I went Chocolatiers. I think that's strong. And I guess CCE. Instead of Glaciers. But I love the Glaciers logo. I'm sweating here. This is a tough pick. I could do Glaciers right now. I could click them right now. I could click them. I'm literally here on the Chrome. You can see it. I can click Glaciers right now and just do it. I could just do it.
You could.
And yet, I can't. Because CCE. And you're right, Blue Eye is going to come out, and Blue Eye is going to be amazing. Damn it. All right, we're going to go with the Crazy Cat's Eyes. No Glaciers this year. If they prove themselves this year, then they'll be big for next year, and we'll scream. It'll be something for me to scream about. It'll make each episode entertaining if they do well. So, Wof, are you ready to submit with me? Raspberry Racers
Yes.
times 3, Savage Speeders times 2, Chocolatiers, Crazy Cat's Eyes, and Mellow Yellow. How do you feel?
That's a solid team, man.
I think it's a very solid team. I'm very happy with it. Primary entry is untrue. So here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm setting up mine. Raspberry Racers for times 3. Midnight Wisps for times 2. And for my times 1s, I have the Can you scroll faster, please? Trubbish. Oh my gosh. Where did Savage Speeders go? I don't see them. There they are. Jeez, that took forever to pull up. Do not select Mini Maniacs, please. No.
Yeah,
Savage
please
Speeder-
don't do that.
Savage Speeders, the Balls of Chaos for my dark horse, and rounding it all up is the Gliding Glaciers.
I wish I picked the Glaciers. Let's do it. Let's submit. I'm submitting. This is my team. I've submitted it. Shit, I should have picked the Glaciers. I should have picked them.
I have submitted.
Why didn't I pick the Glaciers? Wof, why didn't I pick the Glaciers? Ah, damn. Okay, let's talk about the individual picks, and then we'll read all your picks and react. This will be a longer episode. I'm assuming you guys get that. Again, stick around if you put picks in the chat and you want to hear me react to them. I'm going to. Like all three of you guys who did that, I will do that. And this will be a longer. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. So stick around. But I want to get through the rest of these picks. Sap Pizza Man, you said pick Mellow Yellow Pizza. You said Mellow Yellow over Glaciers. And I can't not pick CCE. It's meow meow meow. Look at I knew Wof's face would be silly on that. Okay. Listen, here one more thing before we move on. There's one more thing I want to do, and so we get to pick more than one fantasy this year at non-primary teams. So they don't mean as much, but for fun, I want to do this. So I want to pick.
You can edit your
primary
team if you
entry
want to.
false. So I'm gonna call this. My I'm gonna call this team Marble Gut because these were my gut picks from the first week.
Gut.
So this was, if you look at the Discord announcement I made in the first week, I had a gut picks. These were the first picks that came to mind immediately without data analyzing, without thinking too much. I just had a certain set of picks that was like, you know what, this could be an initial fine pick set. So we're going to see if this is kind of a test. Is gut picking best, or should we really put a little analysis in? And my gut pick was Team Galactic ×3, which is not anymore. Savage Speeders again ×2.
Wait, what is this? What is this fantasy you're picking right now?
You can pick many fantasy teams. There's a primary entry, then everything you pick after is like non-primary, like just other teams. You can just do another set of teams. Mellow Yellow, Bumblebees, and Cat's Eyes. Those were my gut. That was my gut first reaction. So we're gonna see how that goes. And then I might do one or two more. This is more for data analysis for myself, so I can see next year like what is good and not. I might even put in one that's like all the worst teams, or one that's like is it better to just pick all the pre-qualified teams plus the speeders, like, you know what I mean? But I just wanted that one in there. Marble Gut. So I can just keep up with that. All that being said, let's roll into the individual picks. I want to talk about those, and then we'll react to you guys. I think Sap Pizza, come on, man. Why'd you tell me to pick the Mellow Yellow? I should have picked the Glaciers. I should have picked the damn Glaciers. What do we need to think about for these? Why is this zoomed in so much, by the way? It's really weird. Okay, here we go. What do we need to think about for our athlete fantasy? Wof. Wof, I'm going to let you say if you have any thoughts on this first, and then I'll try to just give my initial thoughts, because we've never done this before.
Athlete fantasy is very hard to judge, especially for teams like for team events, for instance. Like some of the marbles you can identify who is who, others you can't. So like judging them on any of their team performances is kind of sketchy. So you have to try and find the ones that have a lot of individual performances, which is kind of limited, you know? So but you really got to go for the ones who have a lot of strong individual performances. And I think that's why Minty Fresh is so high up there, most likely, is because they have a consistent singles performance, but they also probably have less data than others.
Yeah, I'm not trusting very well in Minty Fresh, especially for this year. A team does affect how an individual is going to perform to some degree too, and I'm just very not with Minty Fresh. Same with Kinowin. I don't know. I think, okay, here's what I think are good picks. I mean, I actually like Kinowin here's what I think. You want to pick consistent teams, because consistent teams are going to have consistent marbles. Kinowin's going to be consistent. I think Kinowin's a decent captain pick. I think Speedy is a decent captain pick. I almost went with Speedy. I think Wispy is not terrible. Yellow Eye. Do you know what I'm going with, Wof? Did I tell you what I'm going with?
No, you did not tell me who you're going with.
I'm going with Chalk for captain pick.
Really?
Absolutely. when I look back at the Chocolatiers and saw how consistent Chalk was at speed-based events, I'm like, consistent. I'm going with Chalk. So Chalk's going to be my captain pick. When I go to members, I'm like, who's a good member? And this is where Super Yak comes in. I'm going to get back to his team picks, but I want to read some of his logic here. You're right, Saddlebag, by the way. Chat basically saying skipping out on the athlete thing because there's too much to analyze, and it's just like, doesn't have strong feelings, and I get that. But I'm doing it, of course, because I kind of need to. So Yak had individual fantasy. He said Captain Mini Fresh. I think that's stupid. And he just made an argument, a lot of points, blah, blah, blah. I just don't like it. I think that Maniacs are on a downturn. They had their moment. And now I think that when a team is on a downturn, then the players individually will start to take a little bit of that hit too. So I'm not about them momentum-wise. But he's going with him captain. Rapidly, though, wonderful pick. I thought bad of Rapidly at first, but then remembered Marble League wise, great pick. This is like the equivalent to picking the Savage Speeders for your times 2. It's a consistent marble. And this one, I thought about this one too, and then I was just confirmed when I saw Super Yak say it. He said Pinky Panther for his third pick. Wonderful, wonderful pick. Only cost 30 points. A strong marble. 2 podiums, a lot of podiums. I just recently, a lot of momentum for the Pinkies. A good pick. Sap Pizza, interesting enough. I'm going to get there. Coco, I'm not about Coco as much as I am about Chalk, but it's not a terrible pick. Does do well. And Wizzy, I love this pick too with great logic. Speeders consistently use this reserve in 2 events per year, so very likely they're going to be in more events. So have a place to get you some more points, which is a very smart pick. So I think I'm going to go with Rapidly, Piggy Panther, which who are already kind of thinking them anyway. I was originally going to go Chalk, Speed, Velocity. I think it was Chalk, Velocity, Pinky Panther, Blue Eye, and then like some random one for the reserves. But I think now I'm going to go Chalk, Rapidly, Pinky Panther, Blue Eye, who again, Sap Pizza, I agree, a strong competitor, very good in the racing scene, good for the cat's eyes points-wise, and then Wizzy as my reserve. He goes on to say other good picks. Yellow is a good pick, consistent for Mellow Yellow, cheaper captain. Starry, obviously Starry's a safe bet. You're not going to miss out on points with Starry. I think Rapidly's better though. Erip for 10 points just because it's so cheap. If you want to just take something really cheap so you have a lot of points for other picks, that's a smart pick as well. I think I would rather choose something like Goose or Yeller if I wanted 10 points because, they're pulling on stronger teams, but still not a bad pick. I would say Starry and Yellow aren't bad either. But, we don't have a lot of data. I think we're going to be able to react to how this goes this year and then make better thoughts next year. But if I'm going to give my initial picks, those are mine. So I'm just going to pick them. I don't know, Wof, what you're thinking.
So I'm looking through captains. I'm just going gut right now. But Razzie might be a good one. I think a good member is Green Eye because we did the analysis on it. Green Eye is a very good all-rounder. They are the jack of all trades. So they are good. So Blue Eye is great in environmental stuff, but not much else. Red Eye is great on track racing, not much else. But Green Eye is the nice all-arounder that if you pick them, you're pretty much guaranteed to get some decent points from them. So Green Eye is a great pick, I would say, for a member.
I think Green Eye could be good.
So it's 150, 170, so it's 320. Wow, that added up really fast. Jeez.
No, the points go crazy quick. I think I'm going Speeders Rapidly. Right.
Yellow Eye is only 60. Wow.
Yeah, I know. But then again, Yellow Eye is a much stronger Marbula 1 competitor. So you have to keep that in mind. Pinkies, I can't believe I'm going something for the Pinkies, but I really think Pinky Panther is smart.
Mary has 70, Prim is 40. What on earth?
I don't know how they came up with the points of this.
They must have had some sort of reasoning behind it.
Cat's Eyes Blue Eye, that's smart. And then, of course, end up with Speeders and Wizzy.
Mary is actually the best ML member? Oh, well then, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
I'm going to submit. Again, I'm going Chalk with my captain, Blue Eye, Pinky Panther, Rapidly, and Wizzy on the reserve. I really think that's about as strong as I can get data-wise. I mean, how can I know, right? So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and go with it. We're going to react at the end of the year and really see maybe how we need to be thinking. I'm glad they gave us this little list of teams here, but I mean, again, other team, if you just want me to throw out things I was thinking randomly, I think Pulsar's not bad. Velocity's not bad. I don't know. Swifty obviously is not bad either. Billy's a good pick. Yellow Eye is kind of cheap, so probably a good pick in that regard. I wouldn't sleep on Iceberg or Frost. Green Eye, again, we talked about that. Clementon is probably all right. Mandarin, probably not. Clementon, good though. Orange and probably decent, and Clutter as well. I mean, those are just names I'm throwing out as decent picks. Kinowin, again, I said. Red Eye, not terrible. Yellow, Mallard. You can't go wrong there. On the reserve side, I mean, Tangerine, Ruzzy. I mean, these are just okay marbles. Quasar. You're not going to go wrong there. Cyanide, also not that bad. So, I mean, those are the names I'm throwing out on just basic general thoughts. It's very hard to know. It's very hard to really think. I do agree with Sap Pizza. Blue Eye's a wonderful pick. So, I'm going to go ahead and submit that team. So, that's what we're going for. And so, we've officially submitted our fantasies, individual and regular, plus I submitted an extra one for fun. And so
how do you do individuals on that server?
You just click the custom one instead of the teams one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you click fantasy sign up. So I'm going to go ahead and deliberate just for the last little time we have, deliberate on the picks that other people showed and talk about what I think about them. And then wrap this episode. I know this has been a long one, so I think there's a few people who won't be around to hear me react to their picks, but again, I think I will still do so. So, let's see here. We got some live chat picks. I'm just going to talk about them. So, Richard Hinckley comes in. He says, Mini Maniacs ×3, Savage Speeders ×2, Arrangers, Raspberry Racers, Mellow Yellow. I mean, man, I just wouldn't pick that team, man. If I'm honest. I mean, Mini Maniacs at a ×3 just seems like ludicrous to me. Just ludicrous to me. I just can't imagine it. There's no data to support that. They were good for 1 year. I don't know. I told you they'd be kind of a fluke, and I can't see that this year. I really have trouble picking them. Savage Speeders, of course, a good ×2. Arrangers, you can't really argue with that, but it seems like very bandwagony because there's not a lot of recent momentum to support that, even though they're a generally good team. Racers, good pick. Mellow Yellow, good pick. So next guy, Marble Tube, Raspberry Racers, ×3, Savage Speeders, Crazy Cat's Eyes, or Rangers, and Team Galactic. Another solid team. Again, I think what it misses is Dark Horse. And so, like, if there is a Dark Horse, if there is a team that works out of the woodwork that you don't expect, you're not going to catch the benefit of that. And usually when you have a bunch of mainstream teams, one of them is going to do bad for some random reason. That's just kind of probability. So Racers are a good pick, Speeders are a good pick, but again, Cat's Eyes, Rangers, Team Galactic. Maybe replace Rangers or Galactic with something crazy like Bumblebees. I mean, that would probably have helped a little bit, but not a bad team. At least there's some thinking going into that one. Teckle says first Green Ducks, second Speeders, third Mellow Yellow, Team Galactic, then Chocolatiers. Honestly, that's a solid team. You're pulling a lot of weight when you talk about Green Ducks at your ×3. But, I mean, again, there's something there with the Green Ducks. I don't know. It's hard to read them. So it's not a bad pick. That feels more like a good Dark Horse, though, or a good kind of ×1 pick. But Speeders, again, a smart second. A lot of people going Speeders second. I don't know if that's because they listen to this podcast, and so all these podcast listeners know that Speeders at ×2 is smart. Right, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's like a me thing. And again, if you're picking them because you heard me say it, I mean, thanks. And I really think it's smart, and I want to see you guys do well. So I think Speeders ×2 is good. I'm glad to see a lot of that. But yeah, that's a good pick. Mellow Yellow, Team Galactic, Chocolatiers. Again, very solid. I mean, Galactic and CCE, honestly, tier-wise right now, you could switch either of them out. So I think his pick's not much different from mine besides me having Racers at first. So that's smart. Let's see. Saddlebag says a Rangers ×3, Pinkies ×2, Balls of Chaos, Glaciers, and Galactic. Holy shit. Oh, he didn't put effort into statistics. He said he just did whatever. And I think that kind of shows. Like, you can see when someone did a little bit of research and when they didn't, which I think is really interesting. Because, like, I just think, like, a Rangers at ×3 is just, and Pinkies at ×2 is just a little bit misled, you know? There's not a lot for that consistency. And then Chaos Balls. I mean, I think that Glaciers and Galactic and Rangers are good picks, but they're in the wrong places. I would see Glaciers more likely at a ×3 and a Rangers and a Galactic at a ×2, and then a Rangers ×1, and then the other two could round it out. I don't know. That's an interesting stat. So those are those picks, and then we also have Super Yak here. I'm just kind of going here, reacting to these. Wof, if you have something cut in, please.
I guess I can tell you my individuals I went with.
Oh yeah, go ahead, tell us your individuals before I talk about Super Yak, who has explanations.
All right, so captain, I went with Razzie. I went for my main members. I went with Green Eye. I chose Frost and then Coco just because like they seem like solid picks. Admittedly, I not a lot of research. These are all gut picks, a lot of them.
Right.
Except for and then Yeller for my reserve, just like hey, they did good in triathlon. Maybe they'll surprise me. It's my dark horse of the individuals.
No, I feel you. I think it's not a bad team. And we don't never done this one before, so we don't really know how to judge individuals that well yet. I don't have a little formula to help you hold to something constant, like pick your dark horse, blah 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 blah. I don't have that yet. So we'll see, but I mean, it's as good as anything. I'm pretty confident in my picks, though. I'm a little bit sad I didn't pick Gliding Glaciers, but whatever. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
All right. So let's see what Super Yak says. So he said ×3 speeders. He thinks they're unhappy with their ML performance last year. He thinks they could have done better. You'd be coming back for revenge. And so, like, I shy away from ×3 speeders because they just have a lot of very successful history. And so while they're a very consistent team, I think there's very hot teams right now. Like, Racers are so hot right now. So hot. The Racers are as hot as the speeders were 2-3 years ago. They are. Look at the data. That was just 2-3 years ago. That was the speeders. Barely out of the top 5. And I think the Racers are currently there. They could easily win this year. But the speeders, not the worst ×3. ×2 are Rangers. Not terrible. I just think the Rangers have kind of sucked lately. So I don't know. Like, I'm kind of scared about them. I kind of stayed away from them, even though, again, I always would say they're not a terrible pick. Raspberry Racers. They're a very good team coming off of silver. Very good team, an understatement when I looked at the data. Coming off of silver. Lingering, can they keep up the good work? I think they can. I think that 3 years of consistency with that 80%, I mean, that's really good.
Yeah. Data shows they didn't make it M1, but we know this. The Raspberry Racers suck at marble racing.
Yeah, there seems like the marble.
We've known this for a
one
while.
isn't very good. But again, not bad to throw them on there. Wisps, good pick, consistent pick. I think they are going to be ready to prove themselves this year. Mellow Yellow, same thing. I mean, they won last year. I think it's smart to put them there. I think it's just smart to have them there. So honestly, I think your picks are pretty good. I would shy away from a Rangers at ×2, but otherwise a good set. I can't complain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that wraps up the majority of picks. Listen, if you got through this whole episode, just try to process all this information. Let it guide you a little bit. I mean, I read out a lot of different other people's teams as well as me and Wof's, and you can see some good trends, especially ones that did some research with the speeders and the Raspberry Racers and Mellow Yellow. I mean, you see the trends here. Listen, it's always fun to pick a team that's the exact opposite of all the expected teams. But, I mean, you know, if you're picking a win, these are teams to start with. I think really it's just coming down to getting the right order of them. But a lot of the teams that I think me and Wof and some of these guys picked are going to be a top half team at least this year.
We'll see. I want to point out what Yak said about the top 10 individual team marbles just because, like, it is a good point to make. Minty Fresh is 10th. But that's after 3 years of experience, whereas everyone else above them, aside from Red Eye, is at like 6 or 5 years of experience. And in 2018, they didn't get a whole lot of points. So basically, in 2 years, Minty Fresh topped over like several dozens of marbles.
Really?
And so, you know what? Yak has got a very good point for why Minty Fresh is a solid pick. It's hard to argue with that.
I can edit my team, so you're saying I can edit before the second, I guess. I guess if I feel glaciers, if I wake up in a dream and feel glaciers,
True.
I guess I can make the change. I don't know. I feel like God. I don't like Minty Fresh, man. I don't think I just don't see it for this year.
You're super biased against the Minty Maniacs.
Yeah,
though.
but like, okay, well, let's see then. The only way I'll concede if Minty Fresh does well this year. I'll concede.
Oh, okay.
I'll concede the individual Mini Fresh pick. That's what I'll concede. That's it.
All right.
But like,
all
I mean,
right.
like, I don't think they're going to. And you can say, why? Well, I just think that, like, you know, individual marbles can be affected by the downturn of a team, and I think Mini Maniacs are on an incredible downturn. They're not going to do well. They're not gonna, I don't think they're a top 5 team this year. I don't think they're a top 7 team this year. I would not pick them. I mean, listen, there might be some logic, again, for them being a singular pick, but I mean, like, I'm also not picking Speedy. I'm also not picking Kinowin. And no one's arguing about that.
Why do I not have a single Savage Speeders on my team? That's a good point. I didn't pick a single Savage Speeder.
That's a mistake.
I was considering Wizzy for my reserve.
Wizzy's
Wizzy's
a
not that
great
bad.
reserve. Great
I just
reserve.
wanted to go with a meme of Yeller just because, like, you know what, this is going to be funny if it works.
It would be. But I don't know. If they're good, they're good. Mini Fresh seems to be following the same trend as the Mini Maniacs in general. Came out weirdly good for a year, maybe 2, and then probably not going forward.
We shall see.
Which is what I'm a little afraid for the Gliding Glaciers, which is why the one reason I kind of shied away from them, because you got to have I don't know. That's hard. I'm going to be rooting for those Chocolatiers. I'm going to be rooting hard. Every time I see a Chocolatier, I'm going to be like, come on, Chocolatier. You know, I'm going to go crazy.
Kaizen's gonna be very happy with that. Kaizen's favorite team, I believe, is the Chocolatiers, so they're
Dude,
gonna be
let
very
him
happy about
dude,
that.
I wonder what he's gonna feel like when he knows I picked them. I almost picked them for ×3. There was a part of my day yesterday where I was like, dude, I'm picking Chocolatiers ×3. I was like totally sold, and then I was like, you know what though, I gotta be careful. And then I saw the racer stats, and I was like, okay. I was away from my mic for a second there. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it. I think that's gonna be wrap. I mean, this is a long episode. I think we got through everything we needed to get through here. I mean, this is the guide. I don't know how many people are going to listen to this over how many years, but if you're here at this point, you've listened to the complete guide for picking fantasy. This is about as complete as it gets. This is as thorough as it gets. It might hone itself over the next few years as we get more and more connoisseur-y, but this is very thorough, even more thorough than last year, where I was slightly different. I listened back, slightly different. I didn't say pick your favorite team. I was a little more data analyzing. I said pick your second most likely team to win, which kind of holds no water. I don't know. And I did well last year in fantasy, but not too well. So we'll see how it goes this year. But I'm super excited. I'm super excited for the Chocolatiers. So much fun going on here. But that's gonna wrap it up. Wow.
Kaizen said W, by the way. I told him that you picked him, so he's
that's
happy.
awesome. Yeah. It's gonna be good. They're gonna be good this year. I feel like they have to be good this year. They have to be good.
I hope so too. I think that'd be very cool to see.
Yeah.
That'd be very awesome. All right, with that, we're done here. I'm tired. I'm gonna record the news like as fast as I can. I'm gonna take a nap. So with that, I shall say, roll on, Marble Sports fans.